Hello, I am King Mac, and I'd like to thank you all for watching this feature presentation on YouTube. Be sure to enjoy a hot fresh cheeseburger with some french fries and a nice soft drink. Thank you for watching, and now here is our feature presentation of TTBurger Game Reviews on YouTube.
Hello, my friends. How are you all doing today? Hope you all enjoying this nice spring day here. As spring is here, and we wait for summer to approach us in a couple months for sure. And I'd like to welcome you all to another episode of TTBurger Game Reviews, and this is episode 171, another multi-part review here, and this will be in 4 parts, around episode 171, part 1 of 4. Before I get started here, I want to give a shout out to SubzeroMNX and Free Green HD for the King Mac video, SubzeroMNX for providing the voice, and Free Green HD for making the free to use 3D talking hamburger group video, so credit goes to both of you, you guys are awesome. And today, we're going to talk about some James Bond games. Now, those of you who grew up in the 80s, 90s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s know who James Bond is. James Bond needs no introduction. He's a badass secret agent who always completes his mission as 007 to kill the bad guys, complete his missions, and meet the women along the way to help him, and more while using gadgets just made by his buddy Q, listening to what missions he has to do by the head honcho M, and more. And James Bond has been around for a long time, and James Bond has had his legacy as a popular movie character and stuff, definitely. He also was in video games as well, and the video games, yeah, that's how I was introduced to James Bond, actually. I remember first learning about James Bond when playing GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64, one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games ever made, next to Perfect Dark and Jet Force Gemini and stuff. And I'll never forget the day I got GoldenEye and stuff. I already played a first-person shooter to try the Dinosaur Hunter, so I kind of knew what first-person shooters were like. But GoldenEye perfected the first-person shooter genre for me, and what we got was a badass game, and one of the best games known to mankind. And GoldenEye will always hold a special place in our hearts as a great movie and a great video game to introduce James Bond to the video game world. And you either grew up with the movies, you either grew up with the games, and James Bond was a popular icon in the gaming world and the movie world, well, definitely. And I have played a bunch of James Bond games. I played GoldenEye, 007, and 64, along with that awful Game Boy game, James Bond 007, which was like Zelda. Me not being a fan of Zelda, I didn't like the game at all. Especially when there are parts where you gotta find a tire pump to help someone fix their flat tire on a bicycle and stuff, or go look for a hammer and stuff like that for someone to fix a bridge. Yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea there. But of course, I also played The World Is Not Enough, both the PlayStation version and the N64 version. PlayStation version is better, along with Tomorrow Never Dies on the PlayStation, which was what introduced me to the third-person James Bond action-like, which was the first third-person James Bond game ever made. And of course, there were the PlayStation Edition 2 games, Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, Everything or Nothing, GoldenEye Rogue Agent, From Russia With Love, and I will admit, I did play GoldenEye Reloaded and Bloodstone, but didn't really care for those and stuff like that, so that's just me. But there were tons of Bond games I played, a lot of good ones and a lot of bad ones. But we're going to be talking about 4 games here from the PlayStation 2 era of James Bond, and I'll be talking about the PlayStation Station 1 Bond games in the future, but just right now I want to focus on the PlayStation Station 2 ones, it's just me there. And I forgot to mention I also played 007 Racing, so yeah, I apologize there. But for this video, we're looking at 4 Bond games. Part 1, we're going to look at James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire. Part 2, 007 Nightfire. Part 3, 007 Everything Nothing. Then Part 4, we're going to look at the spin-off of the Bond games, GoldenEye Rogue Agent. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my friends JJ Brother 88, JJ Jaguar 89, and MM the Man 89, because they're big fans of James Bond. This is for you guys. I hope you all enjoy. Hope you're all doing well. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get started with talking about James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire for the PlayStation 2, Nintendo GameCube, and Xbox. Released first for the PlayStation 2 on November 13th, 2001, then March 12th, 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube, then March 26th, same year, for the Xbox. Now let's get started here, shall we? Now for the first James Bond game released for the 6th generation of gaming, this game feels really mediocre, average at best. And this is a first-person shooter, much like GoldenEye 007 for the N64 and The World Is Not Enough for the PlayStation and Nintendo 64. And you'd think that they would improve on those games and make this game better, but unfortunately that was not the case here at all. This game is so mediocre average, it's like getting a cheeseburger from a new burger joint down the street that promises this to be great and the best thing you'll ever eat, and ends up being nothing more than a mediocre burger where you'll want your money back right away. And that is the case for this game. I have played worse Bond games than this, like the Daniel Craig Bond games and GoldenEye Reloaded and 007 Legends like that, which was probably the Bond game that killed the Bond games for me and stuff. And I've also played 007 Racing, which was a car-based Bond game like Driver, which was not very good, but I'll get to that another time there. But I've played worse games than this, but still, what we have here is a game that is short and just feels very light on content to where you'll be surprised that it's over before you know it. Sure, it has some multiplayer parts to the game and stuff like that, but it's not really enough to save this game. The story of James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire is surprisingly very light for a James Bond game. Usually James Bond games were big on story and like kept the game going for the story-wise and stuff. But surprisingly here, there's not really much story to it at all. Bond games that came out before this and the movie-based Bond games had more story to them than this, and this one does not have much story to it, is what I'm trying to say there. It was a very hard story to follow, and I'm going to tell you that much, but I'll tell you it as best I can without trying to spoil it here. You start out in Hong Kong, China, where you are to rescue CIA agent Zoe Nightshade, and then you are chased by the goons. Then you head to R's lab, and he gives James Bond his new car to use. And then some unknown female shows up with a missile launcher, and an explosion happens, and Nightshade is killed. And so you're out to stop them once and for all. And when you find out who it is and stuff, blah blah blah. Just I don't really want to say much what else happens in the story, because those of you want to learn more about it, then play the games to find out more of the story. But I will say this is not a very good story, and if this was a story that was made into a Bond movie, it would be considered one of the worst Bond films ever. Worse than Die Another Day, worse than all the Daniel Craig Bond films like that, worse than them for sure, definitely. Let's continue. For the presentation of Agent Under Fire, the graphics do not really look next-gen. They look last-gen, but cleaned up to look like a PlayStation 2 game. The character models have these weird-looking faces to them, and they look freaky. The James Bond character model looks the worst, and I know Pierce Brosnan cannot portray James Bond or voice him in this game, Andrew Bicknell does in this game, but they could have made him look better than this. R and Zoe Nightshade as the character models, they're a little bit better, but not very good looking. But like the enemy models just look generic and stuff, and just all look the same. But that's just me with the character models there, and the backgrounds look good, sometimes generic, but they are better looking than the character models. The frame rate does not really hold up well, especially when there's a lot of enemies on the screen. Like, the frame rate can really slow down, and you'll notice it too. And when I noticed this the first time, I thought there was a problem with my game or something like that because of how slow it was going, but no, that's just how the game is. The gun models are the best part of the graphics. They look very realistic for its time. I mean, you got different types of guns and such, but they're the best part, but the overall graphics are not very good. The sound, I gotta say, the sound is a mixed bag. The music is great Bond-like music, and the James Bond theme is here too, and you got decent gun sound effects as well, even though they do sound like pop guns and weak toys at times, that's just me. But the voice acting is not very good. Andrew Bicknell comes off as a generic-sounding James Bond. Nothing against the guy, but he is not very good as James Bond. Miles Anderson is a decent R, and Sylvia Rowland-Smith as Zoe Nightshade is average. The other actors sound like they don't want to be there and they're bored, and the voice acting sounds monotone at times too. And that's what we get there for the sound. The gameplay is mediocre, average at best. First, we'll talk about the goods. It plays like a James Bond game, first-person shooter with the weapons and the AR gadgets you get. And the guns are in a variety of pistols, shotguns, submachine guns, assault rifles, and more. And some of them have like alternative fire modes, like you can put a silencer on a pistol, or you can use your M16 like a weapon to like fire grenades and stuff. And There's no dual wielding the weapons, but that is okay with me. It does not need that in this game. You have cool ass gadgets like the Q Claw that can help you reach higher places, and the Q Laser Burns, parallax like gates and vents and more. And the Q Remote downloads programs, but the coolest gadget is the Q Jet that gives you the ability to fly in the air for a short amount of time like a jetpack. And that is fucking awesome in my opinion, to fly around for a little bit of time with like James Bond flying stuff. Yeah, that's very cool there too. Other gameplay elements include you mounting a tank and shooting enemies down with your guns, or being a passenger in a car shooting down like enemy helicopters and other vehicles more with a rocket launcher or a AK-74, whatever you call it, and just that. You also have driving segments too, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And you have some cool ass Bond moves that can improve your score by shooting enemies down with exploding barrels and more. And this is one of my favorite parts of Agent of Fire, is blowing up the barrels and one-shot killing your enemies. It is one of my favorite parts of the game for sure. If you get enough points in the mission, you can unlock cool ass features like the Golden Gun, which has a silencer on it, and more. And it has its moments as a fun Bond game. But now we gotta talk about the bads. The game has 12 missions, and some are so short you can beat them in a matter of minutes. The game itself is only 2 to 3 hours long, especially since this game was released at $50 for the time as full price. It is a ripoff. The opponent AI does not put up much of a fight. They just stand there waiting to be shot, and it has that shooting gallery feel to it. It feels more like a shooting gallery. Oh, the enemy pops up, just shoot him like you're in a shooting gallery. The controls are very wacky. The default control scheme, you move and turn with the left analog stick, while you strafe and look up and down with the right analog stick, and just feels really awkward. Like, the left analog stick should be like where you move and strafe, and you look around and stuff and turn with the right analog stick. Thankfully, you can change the control option there and stuff, but it still just feels wacky all around, especially with the default control scheme, the X button shoots and stuff. But like I said, you can change the controls, but they always have a wacky feel to it. There are only 2 levels where you drive a vehicle, and the vehicles are hard to handle. They handle like a cement truck, and like they handle very stiff. It's hard to turn them. But the worst part of Agent of Fire is you have a limited number of lives. Now I know the world's not enough on the PlayStation had a limited number of lives, not that, but that was a last-gen game. This was, at the time, a next-gen game. You'd think that they would do what other first-person shooters did, give you an unlimited amount of lives and stuff, and if you die, you just start back at the checkpoint or so. And it just seems weird to have a limited number of lives when very rarely this was a thing for first-person shooters. I mean, almost like 95% of first-person shooters did not do this. And this is weird how they give you a limited number of lives, but that's just me. And also, there are no checkpoints in this game. Sure, some of those are broken up into parts and you can just start back there when you died, but no checkpoint system makes the game more frustrating than it should. More care and effort could have went into this game, but unfortunately that's not the case here, and because of this, the game feels more like a rental for a weekend than an actual buy to add to your collection. So final thoughts here. I did not really like this game, but those of you who want some James Bond action on the PlayStation 2 and stuff like that, you might want to rent it. You might just want to rent it for a weekend from a friend's house and stuff and just beat it for 2-3 hours if you have 2-3 hours to spare, and that's basically it. But unfortunately, that's pretty much not much this can offer me. It sure has multiplayer to it, but it's just not the best there and stuff, so just, yeah. So, I'm just saying there, James Bond 007 Agent of Fire could have been a lot better than it was. The score I'll be giving it, I'm taking off some points here. I'm giving it a 5.5 out of 10 because that's the best score I can give it. It's a mediocre, average first-person shooter, and that's short and shallow, and more could have been done with it. That's pretty much all I gotta say there. And that's it for episode 171, part 1 of 4 of my James Bond series review. Stay tuned because we have another first-person shooter we're going to be looking at called 007 Nightfire, starring Pierce Brosnan. And how does this game fare from Agent of Fire? Find out next, which is all I gotta say. Now, if you like what you see here, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below, and don't forget to join my Discord group, TTBurger Game Reviews, along with my Facebook group, TTBurger 88 Gamers Group, along with my Facebook page, TTBurger 88, if you want to join and get updates about the channel and meet people and make new friends like that and more, because we're always looking for more members to join, so feel free to click on the link if you want to join. But all I gotta say, this is Tony, peace out, have a good day, see you all in my review of 007 Nightfire.